the CTE pilot study information session. My name is Lisa Eads. I'm a VP of programs, and I believe my colleague, Dr. Merritt, has also joined. Dr. Merritt, are you online?
I am here.
Awesome. I've got the recording started. We are ready to go.
Awesome. Let's get started. All right. Well, we appreciate everyone. I'm going to cover the first half of the slides, and then Dr. Eads is going to join us to finish us off. So we just want to say hello to everybody, and for those of you who have not met, work alongside Dr. Eads and a number of folks here at the system office to support our programs and student services division. And we're just excited to talk with you all today and to acknowledge and the importance of today's session. It really is going to help us look at Career and College Promise and the future of Career and College Promise and our pathways that we offer our dual enrollment students. And, as we always say, as the colleges and the community's needs evolve, here at the system office, we want to make sure that we're listening to you all and advocating to adapt our policies, our practices, our programs to allow you to serve your communities and to serve your workforce needs. So special shout out to a number of CAOs and presidents, specifically President Lee at Bladen and a number of others who have since I've joined the system office a couple years ago. I know that this specific question has come up a number of times for 9th and 10th grade eligibility for our dual enrollment Career and College Promise pathways. So we're going to talk through kind of this waiver that our state board has approved, and then talk through the ways that you, as your college, can participate in this pilot program in the 25-26 year. So we are pleased to announce, as you've seen in the lead up to this call, that the state board did approve this waiver of state board code, these specific items in state board code to implement this pilot program. They approved it last Friday during our May 16th meeting. So this expanded eligibility criteria is available for the 25-26 school year for Career and College Promise CTE pathways. And we're going to talk about which specific pathways here in just a few minutes. This is a temporary waiver, so this waiver allows us to work with you all, work with selected pilot colleges, and we're going to talk about how we'll select those pilot colleges here in just a few minutes. So you can adjust the eligibility criteria, work with your LEAs, and allow CCP, CTE enrollment in 9th and 10th grade in an expanded capacity during the 25 and 26 school year. So if your college is not participating in the pilot, you will obviously continue to follow the existing rules and existing eligibility criteria that are outlined in these sections of State Board Code during the 25-26 school year. But this is an official pilot that the State Board has blessed for us and authorized for us during the 25-26 school year. So we're excited to launch it here today and to talk about how we'll move forward. So next slide, Dr. Eads. So as we move forward and as we talk about the pilot, these are the 6 parts of our curriculum standards. So you all know that as you create CCP pathways locally, you do those.
Excuse me, are we supposed to see some slides?
Yes, ma'am. We're sharing the screen. We tested that earlier. Can you not see the screen?
No, ma'am.
Others on the call see.
Other folks on the call, can you let us know if you can?
I can see. You can see the slides.
Okay, good. I'm not sitting beside Dr. Reed, so I can see him. So everybody can see. So if you cannot see the slides, you might try to. Oh, I see a lot of thumbs up happening. Mm-hmm. Let us know that if you can't, and we'll see if we can try to help you in the chat. Okay, so as you create CCP pathways locally, you know that you do those under your parent program. So these are the 6 sections of of curriculum standards. There's a link here that we're going to send out this PowerPoint presentation afterwards. This is a link to our curriculum standards, and any eligible CCP pathway under any of these program codes is eligible for this pilot. We are unable to, the state board waived eligibility criteria for this specific pilot. However, there are certain statutory limitations for 9th and 10th graders. For instance, workforce con ed pathways in general statute in law are actually only allowed for juniors and seniors. So this is only for curriculum pathways under these 6 program areas. The actual general statute and law also disallows us to offer pathways in commercial arts, health sciences, and public services. Am I getting those 3 correct, Lisa?
Yes, sir.
Is that right? Okay, thank you. These are the 6 pathways or the 6 sections of curriculum standard where you can explore with your LEAs and decide on certain pathways that you could offer during the 25-26 year for 9th and 10th graders at an expanded capacity if you participate in this pilot. So, all right, so we'll move on and talk about so which colleges are eligible to participate? As we began to talk about this pilot, we initially focused on rural institutions. So we had initially said tier 1 and tier 2 counties, but the more we talked about it with specific, we kind of put a feeler out to chief academic officers and a handful of others, and I spoke specifically with some presidents. It was pretty clear that there was expanded interest beyond just rural counties. So in our state board authorization that we received, if you're located in a tier 1, tier 2 county, you're eligible, or if you'll see on the application that we will share with you, that's actually linked here on this slide, that if you're in a tier 3 county, but you can describe to us specific student populations, specific schools that you think this would work really well at, and there's workforce implications that the pilot participation will have, then we would like for you to describe those to us and make sure that you have a justification for why you'd like to participate in the pilot, and if you're not in a tier 1 or tier 2. So really, as long as you can justify that this, for instance, if you have a LEA and specific schools that could benefit, specific parts of your county, specific workforce populations that could benefit, we feel like that we're opening this up really just for you to make those local determinations. And there's a very brief application that we're going to ask for you to submit to us by June 2nd. And you'll see that that's linked here. And I think you'll be pleased. We're trying not to ask you for too much on the front end, but we want you to be able to make those determinations locally by June 2nd. And there's a reason for that, that quick turnaround, but you'll see that the application is very short. Okay, and I think this is where I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Eads in just a second. But really, there's a handful of reasons that we're doing this this pilot. We've talked about them a little bit already, but we think that this could inform the access to career and technical education pathways in the future and really help us take a look at the future of workforce engagement. And this pilot is going to be eligible until August 15th. So fall, spring, summer of next year. We're going to, the waiver of the eligibility will be available until then, and we'll be able to talk with you about those criteria here in just a few minutes. So I'm going to pass it off to Dr. Eads.
Thank you, Dr. Merritt. So I think we're going to continue this journey down the project scope. So as Dr. Merritt just mentioned, we've got some specific outcomes that we're looking for, and we've got the next year to do that, to really explore some new opportunities. So here is the tentative project timeline. Of course, today is our kickoff meeting for the interest for the application as well. We would like to have those applications to us by June the 2nd, and then we plan to turn that around very quickly. So within less than 2 weeks, we'll be notifying colleges if you've been selected. And then any allocation of state board reserve funds that are available, we hope to turn that around in mid-July. The pilot will officially kick off with your fall term in August, and with your initial report due before Christmas break. And then we'll have a follow-up report from colleges in April with our final recommendations compiled in June with the anticipation of taking something to state board in July. So pretty tight timeline. We expect a lot of really great ideas coming from you all. So looking forward to receiving those applications. Dr. Merritt, anything you'd like to say here about the timeline?
No, I think you covered it well. I think what we're hoping to do, and you'll see this in a later slide, we tried to put the timeline out there ahead of time to allow you all to really think through this pilot and think through the implementation, because the ultimate goal of this is to inform future state board policy and to make sure that we're looking at eligibility criteria. So we're trying to be, kind of forthcoming with our timeline, because we would like to make sure that the eligibility criteria and kind of in an informed way, any recommendations we take to the state board in 2026 come from this mid-year report and the final report that we're asking you all to do. So.
Thank you, Dr. Merritt. So here are some implementation questions that you need to think about as you're considering joining the pilot. So these are things that we're expecting to see in the mid-year and the final report. So what criteria will your college use to determine eligibility for 9th and 10th grade students? Which pathways will you offer, of course, within what Dr. Merritt has shared that are allowed in statute? What academic supports will you provide? Think about this. We get comments often from our DPI friends about making sure that we're supporting the younger students on our campus. So what other additional supports will you put in place in terms of orientation, engagement with parents, career exploration, and advising? And then what role will your high school partners play? And certainly we're looking for there to be strong alignment between our high school partners, alignment with graduation plans and those career development plans, as well as joint advising. Think innovation and wraparound. We're going to wrap our supports around these younger students to make sure as we're trying out these new eligibility options, we want to be really careful not to set students up to not be successful. So be thinking about that as you're thinking about what eligibility criteria you'd like to try out. And then in terms of funds, we were very fortunate to get some state board reserve funds available for colleges. It's not a whole lot. Dr. Merritt, I have edited this slide. I think I've got, yeah, this is a better slide. Sorry. We were changing some content right before this meeting, so
okay.
I have an extra slide. Sorry about that. We are looking for things for the money that we have available. If your college is selected for the pilot, the things that you can use for state board reserve funds that we've suggested here are transportation, textbooks, supplies, fees, anything that you need for data collection and evaluation, because that's going to be critical to support your recommendations. And then, of course, student supports, all those things that we just chatted about. Part of the application, we're asking for some insight on your budget proposal. So you know best what your students need, and we're hoping to see that in the application as you're thinking about if you were to have some extra dollars, what would you want to use those dollars for?
And Lisa, can I
yes,
chime
sir.
in briefly
Yes.
on that? And
Yes, sir.
Just want to make it very clear that these are just additional funds that we had some leftover funds from State Board Reserve. For those of you who don't know, it's just a pot of funds that we have access to every year to do innovative programming or pilots or anything that can benefit students. So there was about $25,000 left here at the end of the year. So when we decided to put forth this pilot proposal to the board, we put a complimentary proposal up for the $25,000 that was existing. So this will not go a long way, obviously, if we have multiple colleges selected to work in the pilot and or to participate in the pilot, excuse me. So we just know that you could be selected for the pilot, but then perhaps you've got your local funding to be able to pay your instructors, pay for textbooks or whatever you need to implement. But this is just kind of complimentary funding. It's not. We'll kind of see what proposals come in and try to make some informed decisions about the colleges that really could benefit most from the very limited $25,000 that's available here. So just wanted to make sure that you understood that these are complimentary and not you're not selected for the pilot and then automatically get State Board Reserve. So.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Merritt. All right, so at the end of this journey, once you're wrapping up the pilot, we're going to be asking for a final impact report, and these are the outcomes that we are expecting to see in that final report. So we would like to see how your students did, including your enrollment, your persistence, completion. If you have any career placement metrics for students, that would be amazing to include. Probably one of the biggest things we're hoping to see out of this is the second bullet here, the recommendation for a new eligibility option. That is what folks have been asking us for quite some time. And so we're looking forward again to your innovation to think differently about these 9th and 10th grade students' eligibility. And then an analysis of potential impact on your program enrollment and outcomes for your not just 9th and 10th graders, but also for your upper grade students. If you're starting them earlier, what does that look like in terms of their pathway progression? And then lastly, a strategy for implementing this eligibility option. You can have a really great idea, but if it's not possible, if your LEA partner isn't on board with it, that's certainly not going to be helpful. So again, thinking about your partnership with your LEA in coordination within the guidelines of what CCP currently has, think broad. Think about this as an opportunity to reach students that you've not been able to thus far with our current structure. So Dr. Merritt, I think with that, this is our last informational slide. I think we're ready to open it up for questions. And I already see we've got a really nice comment here in the chat from Athena about it. This is an exciting opportunity for our younger students, and absolutely. Dr. Merritt, do you have anything further to share before we open the floor for questions?
Yeah, I think the you might have already said this, and I think Aaron put it in the chat if you haven't been monitoring the chat. But after this call, we will be sending out this slide deck, and we'll also be sending out the short application link to the. It's an online form that we'll ask colleges to fill out and just submit to us by June 2nd to let us know if you're interested in your college is interested in the pilot. So we will be providing the information via email after the call. So I'm happy to answer any questions. So looks like Dr. Eads, in terms of there's a question in terms of our pilots, is allowable to have multiple courses with different PSUs.
So you can certainly partner with more than one PSU, but think about your pathways, right? So we're talking about pathways, not courses. So broadly, what pathways do you want to offer? And I think, Dr. Merritt, you made a really great point in the beginning of our call today that, what are the workforce needs that you're going to target? And maybe specific high schools have different resources that you want to partner with or different districts. Many of you work with multiple districts. So I think in terms of the pilot, what makes sense based on your local relationships. That's my first thought. Dr. Merritt, what other thoughts do you have?
Yeah, I mean, many of you, serve, some of you might serve one high school and then also homeschools or charter schools. Some of you serve multiple counties, multiple, school units within your one county. There's a variety of ways that and demographics of the way you all serve with your LEAs and other high school students. So really this is open to you to be able to during the 25-26 year to propose to us submit this application. Let us know what your plans are to serve public school units or just any really. It's not just limited to public school units. It's any non-public school, homeschool, charter schools, et cetera. So we would just like for you to let us know those plans by June 2nd. We understand that it's a quick turnaround, but again, this came about right at the end of the year from a number of requests from colleges. So we wanted to we quickly put this together for the May board meeting, and it's kind of unfortunate that we're asking for such a quick turnaround, but we've got to submit this report to the state board, especially for the board reserve funds by mid-June. So we need to have those decisions here pretty quickly. So if you are, I will say, I think, Lisa, I don't know if you agree with this, but if you do have plans to, or you're talking with your LEAs, talking with your high school partners, and you are kind of going back and forth about whether or not you will do this, and June 2nd is a very quick turnaround, especially with Memorial Day. I would encourage you to submit the application and just let us know. Just because you submit the application and we're selected, it doesn't mean to you would have to participate. It's just we just want to know and be able to document who will be participating. I'm going to take the liberty to say, Lisa, if you submit your application and you have a solid plan, I'm not sure, we say selected pilots, but we're not going to limit. And we're not going to, if we get 50 of these, I can't see us going and selecting 20 of these. I think as long as you have a solid plan, you serve in tier 1, tier 2, and you've got justification to serve certain high schools within the your tier 3 counties. Lisa, we've not really talked through that, but I don't really have any plans to limit this. As far as I'm concerned, when we are making and looking at the eligibility criteria and looking at state board code and trying to be informed with future policy proposals, we need as much data as we can get to help inform that policy proposal. So we would really like to see, oh, and I see Dr. Brown, I see your question, how many pilot institutions you're ideally looking for. We're not looking for a specific number, and we're not looking to limit and really select. We're going to allow you all to participate as you wish. So,
Dr. Merritt, the only thing I would add is we're looking for innovation, right? So we don't want to limit innovation with the number of participants. So we're looking forward to hopefully multiple applications from folks.
Yeah, exactly.
I see Athena has asked to come off mute for her question. Athena, go ahead.
So we were already planning with one of our schools, our academy, to expand our information technology program. Obviously, we were using 11th and 12th graders because we didn't have 9th and 10th graders that were eligible at the time, but we had a lot of interest from 9th and 10th graders. So if we were selected, this would give us the opportunity to actually serve the students who were interested, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then my second question is those if we're selected, those funds you were speaking of, we have a technology issue at this particular school where students don't have access to what they need. Would that be something we could have to help fund some opportunities for them to get access to technology?
I think that's an allowable cost. I see that as supplies, right, for your classroom.
I think so. And Lisa, you're going to go back to that slide real quick where
Yes.
I don't think I pointed this out, but I think one of the things that we put into the state board code item when we said the allowable costs, what we said is allocated state board code funds will be available to pilot colleges to cover costs such as. So we added in that such as to the state board code item to say that these are some of the things: transportation, textbooks, instructional fees, student support, et cetera. As long as it's allowable costs and your business office, will allow it with state funds, then, I think from my own experience, we're not, probably wouldn't be buying T-shirts with things like this, but it's things. But what you described, with technology needs, yes, 100%. Chandra said, or Chandra, excuse me if I mispronounced that. I want to make sure I understand. Does the waiver mean the pilot colleges make their own eligibility criteria? Lisa, do you want to address that part? I think that's a really good question, good point. I think I breezed through that part.
Oh, I think that's probably the most important question on this call, right? That we're really looking for you to think differently about how you qualify these younger students. And one thing we've heard about, and I know Erin Mabe is also on the call, one thing Erin gets questions about often, as well as Dr. Merritt and I, the scores that we are asking for the 9th and 10th graders. Of course, we developed the criteria that currently exist in partnership with our friends at DPI. And of course, not every student we serve is a public school student, and not every public school student comes to us with all of those criteria. So this opportunity is a chance for you all to again, think innovatively of what makes sense for eligibility for these younger students. And then see if what you're hoping qualifies students is actually successful. And again, we're not looking to set students up for any kind of hardships. So you're going to be, I know everybody on this call is going to be really thoughtful about the criteria, but this is your opportunity to help us write the next iteration of eligibility criteria for these students. So we're hoping to see lots of good suggestions come in. And then, of course, leadership here, Dr. Merritt and I and others will take a look at what's submitted, and then we'll take the best of the best, I assume, Dr. Merritt, and we'll put it forward for approval.
Yep, that sounds great.
I have a quick question, if I may.
Go for it.
Dr. Merritt or Dr. Eads. Is this just for clarification, is this for folks with approved CTE pathways in these areas only, correct?
Yes, to enroll your students, you'll need to get pathways approved. So if you already have some pathways in those discipline areas, and I'll go back to those codes. If you have those already available, then that would just also expand opportunities for your younger students to access those. And if you'd like to add any pathways, now's the time to do that. Erin, I think, is feverishly approving things within 7 to 14 days. So if you need some things submitted, we'll approve it just as quickly as we can turn it around. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was thinking about like our catalogs, and many of us are in the final stages of editing for printing. And, you know, if it's for approved pathways, then that's easy because they're already there. If not, that might be challenging, but thank you.
Yes, sir. Great question. Yeah, I thought I heard someone else come off mute at the same moment. Somebody else have a question? Want to come off mute?
Wendy has a question in the chat. It says, if you're part of the pilot, do you have to allow students to register for fall, or can you start in spring? That's a great question. And I think I would encourage you all, if you don't feel quite ready for fall, then spring implementation, I think would be great to plan ahead and work with spring. I think, don't you think, Lisa?
I do. I think the only hesitation I would have is spring's only going to give you about 3.5 months of information to write your final report. So your final report might be a little challenging if you just do one term, but certainly I think starting in the fall, not everybody's going to be ready to roll it in the fall probably.
Yeah.
Other questions? Erin, thank you for responding. We do plan to send out the slides and the application after today's call. Dr. Merritt, it'll probably take us 24 hours to turn that recording link around. So we might need to send that in a separate email. And that way folks can go ahead and have an application today.
Yeah, I think that'd be wise. We'll go ahead and send the slide deck and the application out, and then the actual recording for folks who are looking for the recording, we'll send that out most likely tomorrow. So, okay, well, again, I've said this to our group here at the system office a number of times. Those of you who know me well, I'll say it to you all again. If this is the kind of pilot that can help inform policy, and it can help inform future, career and college promise policy and pathway, creation. And we're always looking to make sure that we can adapt our policies, our programs, our practices, and to meet the evolving needs of our communities. And we want to make sure that we are listening to you also. This has become a pattern of a question that's come up over the years. So I think you all, please, if you have other ideas for how we could, adapt any kind of policy and programs in the future, let us know, because we would like to make sure to be advocates for you with our state board, and even with lawmakers. As some of the, I mentioned earlier that right now workforce con ed pathways are limited to juniors and seniors, and these are the only 6 curriculum program areas that are eligible for 9th and 10th graders. But there's potential for changing law as well if we work with our members of the General Assembly. Let's see, Jennifer said in the chat, which colleges are currently serving 9th and 10th grade students? So Erin just responded to that. Jennifer said most colleges do. I think right now we just serve under the limited criteria that are in this part of State Board Code that has been waived for the 25-26 year for these selected pilot colleges. So, are there any other questions before we wrap up? We're appreciative of the interest, and we thought that would be a big number today, because we as we put this feeler out, we were getting lots of positive feedback about this. So we're looking forward to receiving your applications. If you have any questions, feel free. I think the final slide of the slide deck has contact information for me, for Dr. Eads, for Erin Mabe, our State Director of Dual Enrollment. Reach out and let us know if you have any questions as you think through this, work with your high school partners, and potentially get these applications into us by June 2nd. We appreciate your time and attention, and look forward to seeing a successful pilot to help inform future policy. Everybody have a great afternoon, and we will communicate out here shortly with the information about the pilot.